Next, I'm going to talk about how to like sound like the song, how to sound like the record. Um, the gist of sounding like the record, more than just like studying the track. I mean, some people do that. You know, you can study the track and be like, okay, I'm going to play exactly what. Um, but this is kind of more generic as well in that like we realize that some of these uh some of these songs that are on the radio, they literally have 60 tracks. You'll have 10 keys players. um they're awfully they're usually not playing all at the same time as recording in the studio, and they record in the studio, they do a bunch of tracks. And so anyways, the idea I think that we can do if we don't have tracks, or even if we do sometimes, it's helpful to try to capture the idea of the song. So rather than studying exactly what the piano player did, maybe they like kind of like what I was doing on Always on Time. The piano player technically might have just done right. That's all that was needed with everything else that was going on. But if you and so it's a great place to start. But sometimes it's nice, to fill in more. Um, but also that kind of applies to so my thing is learn like the intros. So if you um can kind of think of things, I heard somebody say top of mix. So basically, when you think like when you're listening to the recording, what do I hear the most? Like, is there this big prominent guitar part that's being played? And usually there is. Sometimes there's a piano intro. Um, let's see. I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna try to play a song and see if you guys can tell me what it is. Hopefully, you guys recognize it. I recognize the song. Yeah, called "Reckless Love." Yeah, and so that one particularly has a piano intro, but those just learning the intros can really help you sound like the recording. Rather than just playing the chords. And the chord chart might have an A flat, E flat, D flat, which sounds good, but it's just it's less recognizable. So if you want to be recognized, like here, let it be recognizable. Learn those intros. Um, and so that one works well because that is the piano. But I think too, I know a lot of churches don't have like guitars. And sometimes even we don't have me playing guitar. And so in that case, try to learn the intros, even if it's like a guitar part. Uh, like if you were gonna do "Glorious Day," for example, you could try to learn that intro. Buried beneath, and the singers will help. Will thank you for that, because it just adds a lot. So intros and then interludes too. There's often a lot of things that goes on during the interludes. So if you learn what's going on there, um, another good example, "Holy Forever." So you might see on the chord chart a B flat, C, F over A. But if you learn the intro, it's just way more recognizable, and easier to follow as well. It sounds like the song. Another good one is "Joy." If it is Israel Hope, "Joy." that just gets you right in. Even if you have that track playing that's it's got that big synth part, even if you have that going, just having something that you're even playing on top of that can really add a lot because you're playing it live. So those are a few things. Yeah, don't be afraid to learn like the guitar parts or those things that really stick out, especially if it is your part, it is something the piano is playing. Try to learn it. And then sometimes you might evaluate that. Even I will say, might evaluate this what the piano was playing. But I feel like it's not good in our situation because music we have or whatever. Maybe there was even some guitar part that was also going along with it, and you're like, that one seems more prominent. So instead of learning the piano, I'll learn the guitar part, and that will just take your playing to a whole nother level. So, yeah. So I just mean like Glorious Day. I'll go back to that example. It's you might have the piano playing in the record, but you have this big guitar, right? So if you don't have a guitar player, then you can learn, it obviously doesn't sound quite the same, but it's going to sound better than not having that part there. Yeah. So, yeah. So that's kind of what I mean by that. Yeah. Of course, Joy has that. Enjoy. That would be like a hook, what you call it. So try to learn those parts that Joy of the Lord is my. And if you can fill in, sometimes that's all you need to do. But if you can try to fill in, if you're limited, at least keep the bass. Keep that at least. I think there's another way to do this. That'd be another way to do it instead of just playing the octaves. Figure out some chords that kind of go with the. You still get the hook in there, not quite as prominent, but you're also keeping the filler of it. So yeah, that's a great way to